Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff Finn. I'm CEO of RealNex, and we're delighted that you're able to join us today for a first in a monthly series of webinars that we'll be putting out for RealNex, and that's cray cray. So a lot of people were having trouble with that's hashtag CRE and hashtag CREAGH. What does that mean? Well, that's cray cray. I mean, it's crazy cool stuff that we've been developing at RealNex. We've had an incredible year of progress and growth with the platform under Tim Cray's leadership and development. And we are really excited to share with you the great progress that we've made on the platform, new tools that you have at your disposal, and wishing you the best in your ability to take full advantage of it. We wanted to set up this showcase each month where Tim could go deep and hands-on with the product to show you what we've got that's available, what's a little bit of a snapshot of what's coming, and to keep you apprised of all of the latest and greatest tools and resources that we have available for you. So there is a chat feature or question feature in the lower right of your menu bar on this GoToMeeting. So you can use that during the session to ask questions if you have them along the way, and we will do our best to curate them and pose them to Tim at the end of the session and make sure he can address as many as possible. Things that we might not be able to address, we'll try to follow up with you directly on after the show. We'll also be packaging this and putting it on the website as a recording. If you have some colleagues that weren't able to attend that might want to find out about it, or any of your teammates or others that may or may not be using RealNex, but you'd like to introduce them to, we'd appreciate those referrals and introductions as well. So again, we've got great stuff to share, a lot of ground to cover, so I don't want to take too much more time, but again, welcome. And I want to turn the show here over to Tim Cray, Head of Development at RealNex. Here you go, Tim. You should have it.
Can you see my screen?
You got it.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's kind of fun to look down the list. I see a lot of old faces on this list from the early days when I wrote REA a long time ago. Surprised you guys haven't all retired. I'm going to go through a number of our products. I'm going to start with listings. I'm going to go through analysis. I'm going to go through the CRM. There's a ton of stuff to cover. I think if you can hang on, you're going to see a lot of really cool things that you didn't know were in the product, even if you're using it every day. We've added so much, and we have so much more to come. At the end, I'll let you know what's coming in February, which is some really cool stuff as well. Starting off, I'm in the listing section. This is where your clients would go to look for listings. We had a lot of brokers ask us for some way to do social media, so we've added that. And when you're on a tile, whether it's you or your clients, this little button here allows them to automatically put this up on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or you or them can email it to someone just by clicking the email button. Under the search, we've been asked to, we separated for sale and for lease, but we were asked to combine them. So we've added a combination where you can look for sale and for lease at the same time. We've beefed up our saved search as well. Saved searches, if you don't use them, are pretty powerful. You can create a search and save it, like I did for this one called Henderson. And when you pull up a search like that, it automatically pulls back in whatever query you had set up. So if you have favorite queries that you like to do for certain areas, you can just save them and automatically pull them up. And when you have a search, this is a search on the left, you can hit the save button and you can give it a name that saves your search. And you can also ask it to notify you if a new listing comes in that matches the search that you put in. So in this case, I'm searching for Henderson, 2,300,000 to 2,500,000 office for sale. If somebody posted a property in that price range for office in Henderson, I'd get a notification, and it'll also notify me when updated, if I want, when a property's been updated that matches my search. So once again, to do that, you just hit the save button down here on a search, You can either update your existing search, this is one I've already got, or you can save it as a new search if you want to, basically cloning an existing search. A lot of people asked us on the map side if we could show what property they were looking at on the map. So you'll notice as you move over, the pins now jump as you move over the tiles on the left. So it tells you exactly where the property is. And if you click on a pin, it'll move the list on the left where the tiles are, and it'll bring that property up in the tile so you can get more information about it. We've beefed up this box. It comes up, gives you a little bit of information, including the agent's information. You can view the details on the listing. And a feature I really like is show in Google Maps. If you click that, it automatically brings up the property in Google Maps. And you know all the power that's in that product. You can go and do a satellite search. You can zoom in. You can tell it street view, so you can get a really good idea of what the property looks like just by clicking on the street and then walking around. So all of that is just a click from RealNex. Doesn't take you out of RealNex, just takes you to the search page. We've started adding more and more reports to the listings for people. So you can select multiple properties by clicking the checkbox at the top here, or you can select just individual ones. Once you select those, you can add them to a watch list, or you can email them. And the reports are also available from here. You just click the print button, and whatever properties you've selected, you can print out in different formats. One of the newest ones we added is a map and a tour. So you can pick 4 or 5 properties and create a tour for people just by pushing the print button and selecting map and tour. You also can add 3D to your listings now if you want to. So to do that, let me bring up a watch list with a couple of 3D properties in it. You see what they look like. It shows 3D on the listing if you have a 3D rendering, and it also shows it when you're inside of the detail page. So if somebody clicks on your listing to see all the details, they'll see a big 3D. And when they click the 3D link, it takes them to a rendering of your property that they can walk around and see what it looks like. They can go inside and see views from the interior. They can move around the interior and look out the windows, and if they have different rooms, they can go in them. Different viewpoints down here. And these can be done from just a brochure you have, or real basic site plans, pictures even. These guys are pretty sophisticated. They can do it without much from you. And those certainly make it a lot easier for your clients to figure out what the property is. We've rebuilt all of the detail screens so they're device independent, meaning if they have a phone, if they have a tablet, if they use a computer, if they have a wide monitor, the screens automatically redraw for all of those different things so people can use it. Spent quite a bit of time on the listing agent side, try to promote our agents so people can search for an agent or a company. And when you do that, it'll show all of the people at the company along with all of their listings. If you open up an agent, it'll give you all the information that the agents put in here about themselves, if they've included a photo and if they've put in their services, along with a list of every listing that they have. And your clients can click on those and add them to their watch list, so you get a notification, and anything you do to the listing, they'll automatically get a notification that you updated it. So if you haven't gone in and updated your profile, it'd be a good idea to do that. It's not much effort, and the reward is substantial. We spent a ton of time on listing management. That's where you guys go to add your listings and manage them, not the outside world. But if you want to add a listing, we've made it much easier to do. These screens I'm really happy with. Let's just open one up and I'll give you a quick tour of it. Number one, we show the important fields right off the bat instead of hiding them down the page, 7 pages. When you see a red asterisk, you have to fill those in. So there's 3 fields you need to add in to create a listing, and that's all you need. If it's a for lease, You can add as many spaces as you want, but we've put the spaces into a grid. So you can see the spaces right here without going down page, page, page. You can make changes right in the grid, so you don't even have to go into a different world. But if you want to, if you have a lot of details about a space, you can also open up a window that fits on the screen now. Instead of making you scroll all over, it all fits on one screen, and you can add details to a space that's for lease. You don't have to. These are not mandatory. The mandatory fields are right here in the grid, so you don't ever have to leave this section if you don't want to. We've moved the Save button to the top, so it's always visible. No matter where you go on the screen, that stays right there, and you can always click it to save your changes. You also can make a copy of a listing. So let's say that you had a property with 4 or 5 spaces and you didn't want to put all the spaces in one listing. You want to instead create 4 separate listings, one for each space. You can just copy this and add a space to it. Copy it again and add the second space. So put one building in, and then you copy and enter 6 fields, and you're done with the listing. So it just makes it a little bit easier for people that like to manage things that way. You can quickly jump to a section now because there still is a lot of information. So here at the top, we've added a menu that jumps to sections. For example, if I click Contacts and Map, it jumps right to that section. We made it easy for you to change the listing agent and add additional agents. If you just in your office, when you pull this down, you'll see your agents. You just add them. They get automatically put in. And anytime you want to move to a section up here, you can. And you can also go in, if this accordions get too big, you can close them all using this little button. Makes it really quick to see all of the different sections so that you don't have to keep jumping all over the place. Email campaigns. If you don't know about email campaigns, you're missing a lot of the power in the system. Most people are either using 2 or 3 different systems to do their contacts, their properties, and their emails. And it's all built into this one system. You don't have to go anywhere at all. So let's take a quick look at email campaigns and see how they work. First of all, you go to your listings. That's where you have your properties that you're trying to sell or lease. And on each of those properties, there's a button that looks like an envelope. When you click that button, you can create an email campaign for that property. We give you a set of templates. You can pick one of the templates and use it. You just go through the list and pick the one you want to use. And then say next. And that populates the listing for you with all the information. You can still change it, but it automatically puts everything in there. And then you go to send the email out to your private list if you want. The private list, that comes from the CRM. There's no importing or exporting or syncing contacts. Everyone that's in the CRM is automatically available in this campaign and as the groups. So I created a group called 3 Flags Prospect. That automatically will send this campaign to everyone that's in that group in my CRM and track it for me. You can also send a campaign to the RealNex community. So you could send it to everybody in a specific state or everybody in the nation or CBSAs. Just if you want to send it to a state, you just type in the state or multiple states, and we'll send it out to everyone in RealNex that's in that state or that's asked for properties, in this case in California. Really easy to do, and that's all you have to do. We also allow you to have custom email templates. So when you can call us and give us what you want for a template, and for a fee, we'll create that template for you, and it'll show up as your specific design. You can use to send it as many times as you want. What happens when you send out an email campaign? This is the really bitchin' part of this. This is a pain in the neck if you're using an outside service. Let's take a look at campaigns. This is not a real campaign, so don't expect to see any real good data. This is just my little test thing, but you'll get the idea. I'm going to go in and ask for campaign stats for this campaign I did, RealNex testing. And that shows me a window that gives me everything that was sent, everything that was delivered, who it was delivered to, when it was delivered, how many times they opened it, what links they clicked on, if any bounced, if any were unsubscribed from my list, and if there was any spam. And if I click on these rings, you'll notice here on the bottom left, it shows me who's a part of those. So I can see how many times he clicked it. 41 times, he clicked it 29 times, and so on. I can export this list to Excel. I can also send it to the CRM. By clicking this button, I can tell it I want to add these people to my prospects for Three Flags Plaza, and it automatically adds every one of these people in the CRM to that group. So I can then go through the group and call them one by one and ask and say, I saw you clicked on my links, just want to see if you wanted more information about the property and so on. So no importing or exporting again. You can also get a link report, thanks to our friends at NAI Mertz who had this idea. You click linked report, it creates a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet has every single person that clicked one of your links. So when you're making an email campaign, you can add links. So you can send them to your deal room, to a brochure, whatever you want to put in there, you can do. And then we track the links and give you the name and the phone number and the company and the link they clicked. So before you even call anybody, you already know exactly what they've done on your campaign. And that's all part of this thing that you're looking at right now. There's some more stuff coming in February. I'll come back to it. I want to go on now to the CRM side. On the CRM side, boy, have we done a lot of stuff. We're trying to bring the stuff from the desktop over piece by piece, and we're about 90% there. 90% of what's in the CRM is now online in this product. We've also done stuff in here that you can't do in the CRM desktop. Things that are actually very, very useful and are a reason to get straight to the CRM online. So this is a list of my contacts, fake contacts, but nonetheless contacts. And I'm going to open one up. One of the things that was requested by people was the ability to navigate through the detail page. So I'm on this guy, Jonathan Anderson, and I want to go to the next person. Now we've added this over here. We've added a navigation pane, so you can just click it and go straight to the next record, just like you do on the desktop. So if you're trying to call people and you've got a group set up and you want to call them, you can just go to the next guy and make a call. You can go to any one of these tabs. For example, I could go to history, and as I'm going through, I can create histories for each person that I called them and they asked for information on the package or whatever they asked for. We've also added in verification. For those of you using the desktop, a really popular feature that I added was called verify. At the bottom of this screen, there's a field that says when it was modified and who it was modified by. So it was modified by Tim Cray on January 31st, but it hasn't been verified in a while. So as I'm looking through these and I'm talking to people on the phone, I see that Renee, nobody's verified her since June of 2014. I don't know how that happened, but somehow she slipped through the cracks. So as I'm talking to her, I'm updating her record. All I have to do is hit this button, verify now. When I click that, it automatically updates who verified it, the date, and the time that was verified. So that's all I have to do. Why is that important? It's important because that's the only way that you can be sure that somebody actually updated this record. Modified by doesn't mean that they contacted the person. They might have just gone into the notes and corrected a spelling mistake and I changed the modified date. That doesn't really help me. So by clicking verified now, what I can do is go into a list view, set them up by verified date so they're in order, and I can see in this column the person that was updated the most recently and all the way down to the person who hasn't been updated in 8 years. So I give this to my runners, or whatever you call the new people, and tell them, go into the by date verified, sort by it. Because all you have to do to sort by it is click the heading. You can click the heading of any one of these and it sorts, and start calling these people, or just select them all, open them up, use the navigation to go through and start calling them one by one and updating their records with the new information. It's a really important feature that the other CRMs don't have. I still don't know why they haven't copied it. They copied pretty much everything else we do, but Somehow they've missed that one. And it's a showstopper because you got a lot of people in this database that just they fall through the cracks. You never remember to call them. From the tile view, another thing that was really important to me, or from the list view too, what I wanted to be able to do was go to a record and see the information. So let's say I'm talking to Jonathan Anderson. And I want to see his record, or I want to see his company. Well, to see his company, it's right here on the contact record as it is in the list view. It's right here. I can just click the company name and it goes straight to the company record for me. I didn't lose the contact. The contact is still up. He's still right here. It just took me to his company, so I can see things like you did in the desktop. I want to see who are the people that work for that company, or maybe I want to see what properties does that company own, or what spaces they're in. So from this record, I can see this information, but I can also go to the contacts tab, and I can see every contact that's at that company, or I can see every space that this company leases, or every property that they own. It's really helpful when I'm talking to someone on the phone to see what they own and what things they're doing. I can also jump directly to the record, so I could jump to the space or to the contact or directly to the property by clicking the link. Again, it did not close the tab. I still have the company open. It's right here. I still have the contact open. It's right here. I have the property. So this is kind of a cool trick you can use with browsers if you don't happen to know the trick. Maybe you do. You can take a tab and you can pull it right off so it's a separate window. So one of the things that we used to do in the desktop is we'd have the property right next to the contact on the screen. Just grab the tab, pull it off and drop it. Grab the property, pull it off and separate them, and you can have them both on the same screen at the same time instead of what I'm doing, which is switching between them. It's a really cool feature that people just don't know you can do. We've added a feature to list things on the records, and we've had that for a while, but what's new is you can design the columns. So right here at the top, there's a little thing that looks like 4 squares. That's the tile view, and next to it there's a list view. So if I click the list view, it switches and shows me the records as a list. But here's what's new. You can create the columns in this list now. So you can design any set of columns you want. You can save those columns so you can reuse them. And it's right here under this columns button. If I go in and say edit my columns, I can see that I have access to every single column that's in the property table because I'm in properties now. Even things like the owner, the site contact, the agent, and I can add them over here on the right. I can save those if I want to, give it a name, so I can reuse that list anytime I want to, or anybody in my company can reuse it if I want to share it. This works the same as the desktop. You have an owner and you have a team. So if I'm creating a list that I don't want anybody else to use, I can make it private, or I can make it part of a team, exactly like the desktop worked. You can add those columns to the column button. Now, this is a really cool feature. When you pull this down initially, you just see edit columns or manage columns. Manage columns has a little star, which makes it a favorite. So if I click the star on this list, it adds it to the button. So now when I click columns now, these 2 lists are going to be on that button for me, so I don't have to go anywhere. To switch my views, I click columns and I go to office view. I can click columns and I can go to the, what's the other one I made? For sale list. So these can all be used to do things such as groups. I want to add these to a group now. I want to export all of these to Excel. I want to create a report. One of the other cool features that was in the desktop that we added to the CRM is linked records. For those of, like I said, I see a lot of people here that have been using REA for 100 years. But here's how it works for those of you that haven't seen this. I'm in a property record, or I'm looking at properties, and I query my database for office properties because I'm trying to sell an office building. That pulls up all the properties that are office. But what I really need are the owners of those properties. This is where all the other software falls down. They don't have the ability to link them. This does. There may be one guy that owns 4 properties. I don't want to send him 4 emails. I just want one of him. So I can't do the email from the properties or I'll get the same guy over and over again. So here's how lookup linked works. I'm going to select all these records and I'm going to say, I want you to look up the linked owners. And it goes to the contact or company database and it pulls up the people that own those 75 properties. Now from here, I can add these people to a group, and then I can go to email campaigns and I can email them out about the property that I'm trying to sell. That automatically tracks who opened it, when they opened it, what links they clicked on, and that comes back into the CRM again. I don't go to any other software. I don't pay any other fees. It's all part of RealNex, and it was really easy to do. You can do that from any table. Any table has linked, and it just depends on what table you're in, what you can look at. So you should take a look at that if you haven't. It's an incredibly powerful feature. We've added some system tables. What are system tables? Well, one of the things that really bugged me when I was doing commercial real estate was I wanted to create certain types of events or certain types of histories. You can create histories and events in every CRM, but how many of them can you create a type for? For example, I want to create a phone call. Okay, well, if I go to Outlook, I can't create a phone call. I can create a calendar event, but it's not tagged as a phone call. It's just an event with some subject in it. Okay, I want to separate phone calls from meetings. You can't do it. Okay, well, that stinks. That's what event types are. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to give everybody event types. So I gave everybody, what I thought was important. And let's see who's on this list. Dennis Bresky calls me and says, hey, Tim, I want to track who's doing tours. So how do I do that? There's nothing called tour. When I created a history, there's no event type called tour. This is what this does. You can add your own event types to this list now. You can add any event type you want. And you can also decide where it lands on the drop down. So for example, if I create a history or an event, the first thing that shows up is anniversary. And I say that, why is that at the top? I don't want to have to go all the way down here to find tour. Well, that's fine. Just grab tour and put it up at the top. Now that'll be the first thing that'll show up when anybody creates a history or an event now. So you can rearrange this event list so the drop downs at the top are the ones you use all the time, and the ones that you don't use that often or you have to scroll down to find. You can also set the duration. So if you say, well, the average tour takes a half an hour, you can go in and you can say, okay, every time somebody picks tour as the type, automatically schedule it for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever you want. So that just saves you from having to do that. Whenever you create a history and event, it'll automatically set a time. You can change it. It's just automatic. You can also decide, boy, tours are really important. I want you to make them red. So every time you're looking at your calendar or a list of records, the tours will stand out because they'll be red. If you do colors too much, it looks like a Christmas tree. It goes the opposite way, but it's a neat feature for things that are really important to you. Other settings are property types. Attachment types. So if you like to separate your attachments into legal documents, photos, I don't know, whatever you do, you can create your own types, and then you can flag attachments as not just an attachment, but this is a legal attachment. So you can quickly find all the legal stuff. And then project setup. If you're not familiar with projects, I can't cover it in this phone call, but you should be. This is one of the things that separates the RealNex CRM from all the others. Projects are your deals, and they're more than deals. They're the stages that you go through in a deal. So we ship it with for sale, for lease, buyer rep, tenant rep opportunity, but you could create your own. And we ship these with certain stages. This is how the things move through your staging. The person's a suspect, then they become a prospect, then they tour, then so on and so on and so on. You can rearrange these yourself. You can delete them and you can add your own statuses in. So you basically can design any project type you want and the flow of that project so that everybody in your company is following the same stage as they go through a listing. And then you can add your own. So let's say that I have something that's not in this list, or I have a different type of for sale. And so I want to create my own project type and I want to create my own list for that. You can do it now. And that just shows up as part of the projects. This is a huge thing. If you haven't spent any time looking at projects, you should. It's what we do in commercial real estate all the time. Let's show you some integration. I think this is another really cool thing. Let me go to my guy again. Let's say that I'm talking to Jonathan Anderson. He calls me on the phone. And while I'm talking to him, he says, hey, Tim, wait, did I just spell his name? Okay, I pull him up and he's telling me all about something that I don't want to hear about. Then he says, I'm thinking about selling my property, Alexander Apartments. Whew. Now all of a sudden I'm listening. So I go to links and I see Alexander Apartments and I click it and I go to those. And I say, yeah, I know the property, Jonathan. And let's do a quick analysis while I'm on the phone. The CRM is not an analysis software. REA is a contact manager. It's more than contacts, but it manages properties and people. I want to analyze this property, but I don't want to have to type everything in. So our analysis software, that's what it's for. And we have a button right on the CRM that says Analyze or Market. So if I go to that, it automatically takes me into the analysis software where it adds the property in. That connects back to the deal room that I have set up and the CRM so I can see what's going on back there. But more importantly, it generates charts, projections, and packages for me. So for example, if I go in and look at charts, I can change these charts to different types and see different types of things about the property. I can look at a dashboard. I'm doing this while I'm on the phone with Jonathan. You saw I didn't actually type anything in. And I can go to output and I can add tiles. These are all tiles down here. There's 57 of them you can add. And this creates a package for me that I could send out to people. I can decide what I want in the package. So maybe I don't want a pro forma. I just take the tile off. Maybe I don't want maps. These maps are all automatically generated. We have regional, location, aerial, and then we have demos. That's all automatic. I'm not doing anything. So all I did was send the property over. And then we have all these other things. So I'm on the phone with Jonathan while I'm doing this. It took me all of 3 minutes. And I go to publish. I can create a PDF. But what I'm going to do to really impress him is I'm going to say publish it on the internet. So it brings up a little screen that says, okay, let me render it. And then let me publish it. And it gives me a link. So I copy the link and I send it to him. And he clicks the link. And there it is, 45 pages that took me, what, a minute and a half to generate. And I say, let's go over some of the numbers in this and see if they make sense. And then I can do a better package than this. And he's like going, how did you do that in 1 second? I can't believe that. That's because of the interaction between the products and RealNex, and it's something you're not going to do with any other program. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that are coming. Hopefully you guys aren't falling asleep. I'm trying to do it as quickly as I can. In the CRM, there's a few things that are still missing that are going to come in February. So we're about, you'll start seeing some of them next week. You're going to see them over and over. And you may have noticed that I've started doing a little window that comes up if I have new stuff, and it has videos of the new stuff. I keep them below 1:30 seconds, so they're not long. They're very short, but they show you what I just did. One of the things that people use in the desktop is alternate phone numbers and alternate emails. So let's say that Kyle Lawson has 9 phone numbers. Well, not that many. He has 7 phone numbers. You can put in the main ones, work, home, phone, mobile, but with alternate phone numbers, you can add as many as you want. And also alternate emails. A lot of people have more than one email now. So you can do it on the desktop, but you'll be able to do it in the CRM in about any time, sometime in the first week in February, that'll be in. We're adding in global replace. For those of you that don't know what that is, maybe you want to update one field for 70 records. You can pull up the 70 records and say, I want to update this field with this value. So you don't have to do it one by one. You can just say, update them all at once. Duplicate check and merge duplicate records. Right now we have a report that you can run, which you probably don't know about. We're constantly adding reports to this thing. So if I go to contacts and I select them all, and I went to the report menu. Under the report menu, I can say check for duplicates. That'll give me a report that will show me duplicates in my database. I still have to go back from the report and delete them, fix them. So it's not as good as what's coming with the duplicate merge feature, but it is there. You can find your duplicates and you can fix them right now. And web links. Web links lets you basically attach a website that you can go to from any contact or property or sale comp, and it passes the website information from the record. So in Maricopa County, for example, they have title. Is all you have to do is pass them the parcel number. Well, each property has a parcel number in my database, so I can create a web link that says go to Maricopa County and pass them the parcel number. And by just clicking the web link on that property, I get back the full title, well, whatever they give you in county assessors. I don't know how good it is, but you get the idea. All of those things are coming in February. In the proposal generator, let me close some of these tabs down. I got too many of them now. Oh, while this is up, this is something else that's really cool. I almost forgot about it. Let's see, proposal generator. I'm getting there. My brain's having a fart. Just a minute. We wanted to be able to give you more flexibility when you're designing a proposal. So remember a few minutes ago, I showed you how you could go in from the CRM and automatically generate a proposal and then send it out. These pages are pretty, but they could be better. So for example, we've been asked by people to let them add photo pages, which you can do now. You can add one photo page and it can have up to 6 photos on it. What's coming probably second week of February, you'll be able to add multiple photo pages, so not just one, and you can design what they look like. So here's an example of, this is just a prototype of it right now, but let's say that I want to design a couple of pages with photos on them. The photo library will have all your photos in it. You can just drag your photos and drop them and rearrange them and so on. And you can pick the format, so you can select the layout. I want 4 photos on a page, and then you can just drop the photos into the squares where you want them to go. So you can pick different formats. You can drop the photos where you want to drop them, and you can also put in titles and subtitles if you want to. And you can add as many of these to a proposal as you want. So I know this is a little confusing. This is just a prototype. It's not in here. Like I said, it's not going to be until the second week in February, but that will just become a title on the page when you're doing a proposal. And that'll make it much more flexible. The other thing we're doing with the proposals, and again, this is not an extra product. This is just part of RealNex. It's all integrated. When you go to a page, you can change what's on the page. So right now I can update the information, but I do it through an edit screen. So I'm on the cover page. I want to change the title. I edit the page and I change the title. I can just type it in. What's coming in the new version is you can do it right on the screen. So I can click here and I can just type in a new address. I can go down. Let me see if I have a page that has some bullet points on it. None of these do, but I could have bullet points here. I could just click in that square and I could add as many bullet points as I want. And I can also change the font. I can change the color of the font, the spacing. So you'll be able to edit the pages directly, which will be a big plus. You can edit them now, but you don't have quite as much flexibility, and it's not quite as easy to edit them. That's going to be a huge plus for us because people like to do it while they're looking at the thing, not on a separate page. In the listing search, and I got to go to staging for this because we haven't released this yet, but we're trying to make the listing better for the clients, easier to find things. So what we're doing now, and this actually is working, so I can show you how this works. If you put in, let's say, a state, let's say we put in Arkansas. I want to see on the map where Arkansas is, so I know that I'm in a certain area. So you notice how it drew the boundaries for the state, and it kept all of the listings inside that boundary. So I know that I'm not seeing things outside of it because I see this boundary. The problem is we only show you the first 500 results because there's too many results. If we show you 155,000, it's going to take too long to load. So it tells me right down here I got the first 500. Well, that's a bummer. What about the other 12,000 that are in the state? I can't see them. So here's what we added. At the bottom of the map, there's a thing that says search on Zoom. If that's checked, as you zoom into different parts of the map, it'll repopulate the map with the listings in the area that you're looking at. Well, I'm looking at the whole state. That's a pretty big area. But if you watch as I start zooming in, it redraws the points. So now I'm seeing the points that are inside this square, and I'm down to 409. So that means I'm seeing, since we show you up to 500, that means I'm seeing every listing that's in this square now. And as I move the map, it repopulates as well. So people that happen to be one of the 500 that didn't show because they were zoomed out to the United States or something, now as they zoom in, they're going to see everything that they have. And it still stays within the in the boundary unless you go up here and say clear location. So at the top, there's a button that says clear location. That just means I don't want to stay in Arkansas anymore. I want to go back out to whatever I'm zoomed in on. So now as I move around, I'm going to see the whole United States. And each time I move, it'll repopulate the area I'm looking at with the listings that fit in that window. Should be very helpful for people that are just trying to find listings when it's a super populated area and there are more than 500 in a small spot. We do the same thing with county. So let's say I want to go to Clark County in Nevada. It'll outline the county and it'll show you the listings that are in that county, and zooming works the same way. So as I zoom in and out, I'll see the listings that are in the area I'm looking at, and the same thing for city. So if people go to cities, let's say Henderson, it'll show where Henderson is, it'll draw a thing around it, and it'll show you the listings in there. And the same deal, as you zoom, you'll see everything that's inside of there. I'll give you a better example of how important this zoom thing is. I'm looking at the United States. Let me get rid of this thing. And I'm zooming in and I'm looking at Wyoming. And there's not much there. There's nothing there. That's because it didn't happen to hit in the 500 records. So I'm going to zoom in a ways, and then I'm going to turn on search on Zoom. And you'll see that Wyoming actually does have listings in it. They're all over the place. It's just that it didn't happen to hit in that top 500. But now that I've zoomed in far enough, I can start seeing them. And as I move around the map, I can see them. So it's just an effort to get listings to show up, because we now have so many listings, especially since we're syndicating, that we can't show them all on the map. There's just too many of them. It would just be a giant red dot or a giant purple dot. Most of you know that we have the ability to show comps as well, which other systems don't have. So you can pull in on things that's sold or leased around a certain area as well, and see what happened. Okay, Jeff, my voice is about to go bad.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna stop. Let's do another one of these another time, because I'm having trouble talking. I'm a programmer, not a talker.
Rapid fire in a short period of time. One of the guys said, yeah, see if you can guess who it is. February is tomorrow. And, you know, Tim's talking about all this stuff coming out. He was so mad at me, saying, why did you schedule this today? Because I had everything ready for tomorrow. I've got a lot more to come. So, Nick, we do actually, you're right. February is tomorrow, and a lot of this stuff is ready to show tomorrow, ready to come out next week. So Tim gave you a little sneak preview of some of that'll be coming out in the next release early next week. So, hey, if you like what you saw, raise your hand in the box. And if you like this format and structure of the program,
look at all those hands.
If you're appreciating it, we want to keep doing it, because I think it's well worthwhile. We really appreciate all of you attending and taking the time and sticking with it. A lot of ground to cover. So thanks for joining, and thanks for the feedback throughout.
Darren, I see you raise your hand. I'm watching you guys. You better raise your hands. Thank you.
Tim, one of the questions about Tim. Still there?
Yeah, I'm here, but there's lightning and thunder going on, so
got a plane flying over.
No, that's lightning and thunder.
Oh man, well, be safe.
Sitting in the tiki hut with a beer, I'm fine.
One of the questions, though, when are you going to play the guitar? But I don't know if you're going to play the guitar today. We definitely want you to serenade us in one of these events.
No, the lightning will hit the strings and all blow up.
Yeah. When I call up a history under a project, it does not give me the contact that it is associated with. Would like to click on the contact associated each event on history.
Not sure I understand. Is that, can I see that somewhere?
It's in the question box. You see.
I see questions. Holy
yeah,
smoke.
You got to scroll them down.
Okay.
So it's down towards the bottom, somewhere I answered with chat.
Holy cow. There's a million of them. What, can you read it to me again? There's too many.
Yeah, well, so yeah, that's why I thought I'd read it to you. So when I call up a history under a project, it does not give me the contact that it is associated with. I'd like to click on the contact associated with each event or history.
Okay, let me go to project and see. So these are future enhancements, I guess.
I guess it was just as a question about can we do it or can we?
Okay, I'm in a project. I'm in a project, and where was it?
Under a history.
Oh, under history. Okay, so I add a new history, and I want to see the person that it's linked to.
Yes.
Yeah, you can always do that. That's not anything new.
So I think that's what someone just not understanding how to do it. So you have to use the link to feature in the history table, and you should be able to get to exactly what you're looking for there.
Can you see my screen, Jeff?
Yep.
Okay, so guys, here's something I added to.
And you can add the columns too, so that's gonna make it even easier. That's
you
what
might
I was
not
trying
know that I added that. I added it about 4 months ago. But on every one of these screens where, these tabs where it has a list, over on the far right, you can hit columns, and you can decide which columns are in the view. So you just have to pick the columns you want. Let's see. Wait, maybe I don't see link to in here. Maybe that's what they're talking about. I'm missing the link to field. That must be what they're saying. Okay,
You can't get a
whoever said
contact.
that,
Yeah.
I don't like you anymore. I'll add that in.
Good find.
Sorry, I missed that field. I don't know why it's not in there. Yeah, I'll add that for you. Who was it, Jeff?
Jeff Nordness.
Okay. I'll give him a Christmas present early.
All right. Trying to connect for bulk linking or an undo feature. I think that's your global replace that you talked about.
It's not done yet. Won't be done until next month.
I don't know if that's an undo, but I think it might be able to help with that, just the global replace. Did you fix the complete for annual events?
We're working on it right now. It's supposed to be released on Tuesday, but I think it's not going to be released until a week from Tuesday. So you'll be able to complete individual occurrences of recurring events or the entire event. Because all you can do now is delete recurring events, but it's almost finished, but we have to test it. So I don't think we'll make it by Tuesday because it's going to take about 3 days of testing. So we release every Tuesday. And so you'll see it on whatever date that is. Yeah, I don't know, whatever date it is, the 12th. Look on February 12th, and recurring events will be completely finished.
Excellent. SEO in Marketplace. So we've had a number of people ask us about that. We did a lot of work at the end of the year to get all of the links indexed on Google, and that's an ongoing process. Google runs through at their pace to get all the properties to show up well. We also engaged and are working with a consulting team that's expert in SEO, and we'll be implementing a number of strategies to further enhance the platform. So bear with us. It's an ever increasing and changing, ever increasing focus of ours and a changing landscape. So we're doing our best to stay on top of it and get ahead of the rankings, and expect to make a significant move forward within the sort of the first quarter. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a process rather than just a sprint to flip a switch and turn it on. So we're working it, and you should see results quickly.
Hey Jeff, I see a question that I didn't cover.
Yep.
And I think it's regarding pulling up listings and how fast they show up. Can you elaborate on efforts to improve search engine optimization for market ads?
That's what I was talking about. So I was talking about the SEO in general, but if there's a speed issue that you saw, that's a little bit different. But I know you did a lot of work to.
I think it's in Marketplace, because Market Edge would just be your own properties.
Yep. Yeah, I think that was just terminology.
But Dennis, it was taking 5 seconds to do a search. So like if you went in here and said San Diego, and said, oh, come on, and said search, it would take 6 seconds, 1001, 1002. Now it's down to 1 second. So we do realize that the search speed is important, and we've gone from 6 seconds to 1 second. We're trying to get it down to 3/4 of a second, and we probably will. But we know that that's important, and there's a huge difference in speed right now if you go look over what there was 2 weeks ago. We just put it up 2 weeks ago, the speed increase. So give it a try. I think you'll find it's a lot faster now.
Well, I think that is it. It's just coming up on the hour. Tim, great job in getting this so much compacted into a short period of time, and more importantly, for delivering so much great additional value to the platform. It's really exciting to see all the progress, and it's exciting to see the audience appreciating it and putting it to good use. So we look forward to continued great strides in February and seeing you all again the end of the month. This will be a regular series based on the interest, and last Friday or last Thursday of every month, same time, same place. We'll send you out links and invites, and look forward to having you join us next time. Thanks again, everybody. Have
Don't
a
be
great
shorter
day.
because I won't have to go over everything. It's really great to see all you guys. So many of you from the last 20 years. Bye, guys.